This podcast contains adult language, descriptions of violence, sexual references, and other possibly offensive themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to this episode of Back to the Story, where friends come together to play Dungeons and Dragons. I'll be your DM, Klouse. Let's get started.
If anyone can talk a Balgarth out of a fight, it's you.
If anyone can keep us alive, it's you.
But if you ask me what my calling would be, I'd say that of a defender of my friends.
You don't need to change anything.
I would give my life to see them through.
I apparently only get into trouble when I'm around you lot.
I never want to have that kind of power over somebody.
She lands upon the deck, but just on her toes, like a dancer, like a ballet dancer, as if the weight of sin has yet to fall on her shoulders.
And the light of nature will be brought to them.
We haven't done this before. Does that make us professional?
That would make you amateurs at best.
At best, I like that.
I've had a hard time finding answers in my life.
I'm glad I'm here too.
Where are you from, Ezekiel?
Wherever your wife goes when she dreams, and I'll walk away.
Fuck you and fuck your will.
There's no redemption for the likes of you.
You were never loved as a child.
How do you want to do this?
I just realized I don't have the right number of skills.
Oh my god.
Really?
That?
Did your power go out again?
No, just Skype closes randomly. I did the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
God damn it.
Yeah, you were frozen from the very beginning.
Holy shit. Okay, here we go again, I guess. Round 2. Previously, striking through the wilderness, you came upon the white stone ruins of an ancient Vumeri structure. Deciding to get a closer look, you discovered that there were already some exploring it. A scholar of the Jade Anthenium and his 3 hired mercenaries. However, currently the scholar was stuck, trying to solve an arcane riddle to gain entry into the ruin. Interested, you decided to help the old man and began work upon the magical pillar, requiring you to solve a series of riddles, casting spells to move into the shallow and then into the deep ethereal, in order to cause the steps to drop and the abjured of wards to fade. Down into the dusty white stone ruins beneath the Nor, you found a circular ruin with a glass dome above, partially covered. Inside were maybe a dozen Vumeri-resembling figures, all with faces of ash with red cracks, who watched the skies. Stepping forth into the crowd, who did not react, Vesper scattered them to dust and ash. Upon this, a singular armored ash Vumeri drew a black blade from a glowing tree from the room over. Moving through his unmoving kin, who watched as the blade passed, in the dome he commanded you all to leave. You refused, and he fought with a blade which incapacitated those who were hit by it, slinging black star magic and calling upon the moon glass dome above to drop massive black star comets upon the group. He was difficult to bring down as his blade absorbed any and all radiant energy, but eventually he fell, cleaved by a slash from Ball. The scholar came after, investigating the moon glass armor of the ancient Vumeri elf first, before noticing the blade as Ball took it. Attuning to the blade, Ball's eyes turned black with stars, like staring into the void of space. Taking the blade, the scholar looked it over, moving to the next room as to look upon the runes and glyphs of the walls and the platform where the glowing tree stood. The tree had a large burning wound where the blade was before. As Vesper asked to see the blade, and the scholar held it for her to look, and she cast Dispel Magic. The magic of the blade was cast asunder as everyone heard ear-piercing screams of 1,000 voices go silent, as the remaining Ash Vumeri scattered to dust and ash. The scholar was broken. He'd been working on this for decades and distraught, and finally finding it, the magic was cast away. Leaving the old man upon his knees, you left the way you came, returning to the surface where the 2 mercenaries waited with Orizana and Raz. You return to the surface. Night is now fallen. You see Orizana sitting beside the campfire of the mercenaries with Raz nearby, as the 2 individuals look at you. Watch as you climb the stairs. What would you like to do?
We should go. Ori, saddle up. I'm getting out of here.
She nods, I guess you gesture, and she nods and gets upon Raz, as the mercenaries kind of look at each other. Did you get in?
Did indeedy. Your boss will I'm sure will tell you about it.
They look at each other and one nods as one gets up and begins to go down the stairs and check on the boss.
Everybody's still alive. Well, that was alive, I guess. Anyway, shall we?
Yeah, let's go.
I guess we should get out of here.
I just don't feel like we should camp where that gentleman can possibly see us. I don't want to hear his distress.
His lamentations.
I look down at the purse that he threw at us that I picked up, and I kind of look around at the others and say, you know, this may sound kind of weird coming from me, but I don't feel great about this money.
Amsen just kind of shakes his head.
Something happened down there. The one remaining mercenary, the heavy armored axeman, kind of has his axe over his shoulders, can kind of hear you gathered together and talking, and is kind of taking a few steps forward.
Let's say that it should be thoroughly cleared out. Let's put it that way.
Make either a deception or persuasion check. I want to say deception.
I kind of want to say
not
deception too.
Lying, but it's kind of...
Yeah, I'm definitely not
You're withholding
everything.
enough of the truth, yeah.
That's an 18.
He nods. All right. He kind of loosens up a little bit, relaxes, and moves back towards the campfire and begins opening up a bottle of something.
Let's just get a little bit of distance and scout out a place to camp. I know it's dark, but we'll figure it out.
Okay, so who's leading this scouting?
Probably me.
Okay. Give me a survival check with disadvantage as it's nighttime. It's harder to see.
Okay. For the record, though, my skill feat that I took at first level was the perception one, so I don't actually get that dim light disadvantage.
Okay.
It's
So
phrased...
just straight roll.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yep.
I mean,
You're
of course, I can
used
only
to-
see to like 60 feet, but I have a little bit better eyesight.
Yeah, you're used to doing this in the night.
25 either way.
Yeah, you're very accustomed to being within nature, and you move away from these ruins back into some of the thick of the forest. There's a number of hills. There's a few places where it looks like there might be clearings if you wanted to go for a clearing, but if you wanted for cover, you could kind of push through some of the underbrush and find a place that's pretty hidden from sight in all directions. There's kind of a cluster of trees and some underbrush grasses and bushes that once you're in there and settled, you're blocked from sight in basically all directions.
I'll go with the cover just because of bugbears.
Okay. So it's one of those things where like you kind of have to push through the bushes, but once you're in there and you find a good spot, you're comfortable and feel pretty well hidden. There's not enough room for setting up tents, but you can definitely kind of curl up beneath some of the bushes and boughs of the trees.
So, that perhaps did not go as expected.
I guess nobody is happy with how things turned out.
I don't understand why you did that.
Vesper has just been curling in on herself this entire walk and kind of like has her hood up and is just off to the side. And is not looking at any of you.
Well, let's be fair. There's no way Vesper could have known that would have had that drastic of an effect. And we have not had a good history with powerful swords in our recent adventures, so I understand caution.
I do understand why you did it, even if it didn't turn out the way any of us wanted. I understand why.
I'm sorry. I was scared, and I acted without thinking, and I'm so sorry.
Look, we still don't know what was going on down there, and we may never, but I don't know about y'all, but anything that has taken itself outside of the natural order of life and death is an abomination. And as far as I'm concerned, that's where I was headed anyway. I've never quite known someone that shoves away death forever for benevolent purposes.
I don't know if everything is dead. How can one redeem itself if it is not given a chance?
Why do they deserve redemption?
Everything does. Everyone does.
What if being stuck that way kept them from whatever redemption they could find?
I believe those that were undead no longer had that option, but I believe there might have been more. The tree, something beyond that, they do not know.
And we may never. That is the unfortunate state of this. But if it's any consolation, whatever those things were, they sealed themselves away from the world, all its concerns. They were as good as gone before we went down there. We, as cruel as it may seem, have changed nothing on the balance of this earth. They weren't there before, they aren't there now.
I suppose now we continue on.
What other choice do we have? I made a mistake and I'll do better next time. That's what I can do. Nothing's going to fix what I did. I just shouldn't do it again.
Doing better next time is all any of us can do.
And then in Giant, I'll just say again, I am sorry.
Giant Ball will respond and say, it's not me you need to apologize to. I'm sure AI will listen to your prayers.
Maybe.
You still have the opportunity for redemption.
I just hope she's listening this time.
I believe they always are.
I hope so.
So, curling up beneath these bushes, conversation eventually trails off as you begin to find rest. Do you guys take watches, I assume? Okay. So what's the watch order?
Second.
I'll take first, because I think it's hard for me to fall asleep.
Yeah, I think if we're pairing up, I'll be first with Vesper.
Okay. So Ellory taking second. The first and last watch go by without any real issue, just the sounds of nature around. Ellory, you hear sounds something flying with great wings. This is not a standard bird, something large that flies over the boughs and then passes.
Do I see anything?
You can make a perception check.
I will do so.
As you hear the wings coming.
That is...
And that's a disadvantage because it's at night. Also, there's numerous boughs of trees between you and the sky.
That's a 12.
A 12? You see something large, dark, wingspan maybe 14 feet. It's long-bodied. It is not thin. It is muscular in nature as well. And you see what looks like appendages, legs or arms dangling. But it's quick. Flies over. That's all you're really able to tell.
I can't get a sense of the shape of the wings.
They're long. They're longer than it is long, than from nose to tail.
Okay.
A few moments pass. You can no longer hear the wings. The rest of your watches go by without issue. As the sun begins to rise from the east, and a new day starts. What would you like to do?
I assume I would have told whoever I woke up for the third watch about what I saw, and also in the morning. So there's something rather large flying around out here, or there was last night. We should keep an eye on the skies, be careful as we go.
Probably best to try and rest under tree cover too, then. Alright, still off towards Briarbridge. I will lead the way.
Okay. So leading the way, go ahead and make a survival check. As you continue to push through the wilderness. And you guys just going regular pace? Fast, slow, regular?
I think regular?
Yeah, I would say regular.
Okay. So traveling through the day, most of it is spent cutting through the forest. Every now and then you hear something run. You see a deer cut across a shallow creek that's trickling water. Or you hear something like a squirrel-like creature jumping from branch to branch and above trees. Small birds chipper, insects buzz, bees. There's a honeycomb hanging from a tree. Towards the mid-afternoon, the forest begins to thin somewhat. There are patches where the forest is still thick, but there are patches where there are just large expanses of prairies, of grasslands. And you can choose to go a little bit of a longer route, but stick to the forest cover, or cut through the open fields. You can see ridges in the distance on the other side of the fields. Not quite mountains, but like low rolling hills.
Well, what do y'all think? It might be nice to get there a little bit faster, but if we're concerned over whatever was flying overhead, we don't have much cover out there.
I think we should stick to the cover.
I'd feel better staying close to the trees.
All right, close to the trees it is.
I don't think we're really in a rush anyway.
Okay. Give me another survival check. And this will be for the next day or so.
Not as good. 13.
There's times that the further and further you go, you're kind of cutting more and more east to stick to these forests. The more you cut, though, you begin to run into ponds, and the forest is beginning to thin more and more. There's still ways to do it, but you're having to cut and jump from grove to grove. A couple days pass, about 3 days of this, and you're getting to where the hills are in sight, not too much further. You can see there is a trail that cuts through the grasslands, heading west and west-east. And everyone make a perception check as you're kind of moving from the thickness of one forest into another grove to still make your way under these boughs of cover.
21.
6.
Thank you, Ellory, for being the only one with eyes.
You know, there's so many of you, it's almost impossible for a group to fail a challenge, but you managed to do it. Ellory, however, looking out upon the sweeping grasslands like a sea of golden, you see dust kicking up. In the very corner of your eye, you look out in that direction and you see it's moving in your direction upon the ground.
Something's heading this way, kicking up a lot of dust. Do you see that?
Can we look harder at it?
You don't see it at first as you're cutting from grove to grove, but after a couple minutes, you do begin to see it as it gets closer. You can see the dust is moving. And now that it's closer, the rest of you can begin to see something running. It looks like a horse, just sprinting upon this trail in your direction.
Somebody's in a big hurry.
Maybe it's a messenger of some sort?
Is it just one? And size-wise, does it look just like a regular horse or something much larger?
Yeah, as it gets closer, it does look like it's a regular horse. You can see a figure upon the back of it. Long hair. It's hard to tell if it's a male or female from this distance. Adult, riding upon this horse. They're standing in the stirrups as they're urging this horse with great haste. You can see them looking over their shoulder.
I think I'll just keep my hand on my blade and try to look past the horse and see if they're being chased by something.
You see something exit one of the clouds above and enter another. It happens quickly. You see the shadow move across the sea of golden grasses before it enters into a cloud once again, as the horseman is continuingly to press.
Are we just in an open field right now?
You're on the edge of an open field. You're still within the tree line because y'all stuck to it. But they are currently in an open field.
Let's see what I've got. About how far away is he?
He's maybe about 500 feet away.
All right, that's too far.
You see, cutting out of the clouds above, flying and cutting behind him, following his trail. You see the man look behind his shoulder and kick the hell out of his horse, trying to force it to go faster. You can see him pull something from his side and fire back with a hand crossbow. You see the bolt go towards something with probably a 15-foot wingspan, feathers of gray. You see a beak dripping wet as you see talons below, 4 legs as it from behind slowly catching up to this horseman.
Tell what kind of...
The griffin collides into the horse. It goes tossing. The man goes flying into the grasslands as the horse itself snapping one of its legs. It tries to stand and falls back again as the griffin lands upon the creature, looking at the man crawling away as it tears its beak into the horse upon the ground.
Ezekiel covers Raz's eyes.
Well, should we do something?
We should probably get that man to safety.
Alright, let's get going.
Everyone roll initiative.
A natural 1.
Oh,
Ball. Ezekiel, oh my goodness.
Zero
Guys,
the hero.
what are our roles?
I'm trying to comfort my horse friend. I'm distracted.
Alright,
Ball
so
is somehow surprised and doesn't get a turn.
we got Ball with a 0, me and Ezekiel with 4, Vesper with 21, and Ellory with 22.
Let's see if this color's gonna, work out. Yeah. Not quite sure,
Who is that?
Is that the Griffin's voice?
Yeah. Actually the color's not bad, but the grid line needs to be darker. Like my soul.
Hey, at least you admit it.
Hey, what's up? Alright, so we're gonna put you little guys, say, way over here. Boom, 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 boom. And maybe down a little bit, Okay, could be trying to do a good job here. I'm doing a real good job over here.
We don't have an NPC with that voice was essential to multiple quest lines. I will be livid.
It's actually the voice of the big bad that you have not met yet.
Oh, perfect.
His name is Jerry.
Well, he's going to be easy to make fun of.
Come to steal your souls.
Sither's just from Brooklyn.
Right.
Brooklyn, the 6th layer of hell.
This is starting to get a little Russian.
Hey, listen, this is Fantasyland. All of my accents are perfect because that's just how they are. It's a perfect medley.
He's from Brooklyn, but of Russian descent.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. You got it.
Like, Vesper's clearly not Welsh.
That's okay. Ezekiel's is not great either. It changes. I find a flow by mid-game, but it's always different the first couple times I talk.
Y'all and your goddamn high bullshit initiative rolls.
2 of us.
What are you talking about? Most of us have single digits.
If we're going by the
right.
age-old rule of ladies first.
Hey, maybe we're basically all going at the same time anyways, so...
You know what? For simplicity, I'm going to say Meli's hanging back to protect Raz. I'll put Kalvyn on the board since he might jump in here. But Meli is going to protect Raz. And probably read a book or something.
Every once in a while we just see a streak of blue as she's like, Ray of Frost.
It melts halfway through.
I like, too, that we armed Orizana, like, in the first town we went to, and she's like, I'll just sit on the horse. It's good. You guys got this.
Yeah, till the one time she isn't, like, okay, and we all have to freak out, like...
Yeah.
This guy is going to have to do... So I lost the real token. He put that person on the board, too. Of course. I roll real well for that guy.
What is...
Okay. So, Ellory, you're up first. You see the griffin has landed and has begun to tear into the still but not for long living horse. As it's standing over, what do you do?
Well, it's real far away, but I have a real far range. So, I am going to cast Scorching Ray at that griffin.
Go for it.
I believe that's a roll for each ray. The first one's a natural 1.
Go ahead and roll on the magic surge table for that. Let's go ahead and do that.
That 82.
Yay! I can hear everybody.
Hey.
Just in time.
Welcome.
Literally
Fight a griffin.
just in time. Wild magic
You missed
surge.
The Vesper shaming, though. We can come back to that if you need to.
Oh, I was gonna have a one-off with her, so it's cool.
We just
I'll
haven't
do it.
had time, you know. We've been traveling, been taking
I have
different
no
watches. Well, it's been a couple days, but we'll get to it.
Wow,
We'll just
okay.
revisit it. Like a
Alright, so...
we'll edit it, and we'll fix it in post.
We'll fix it in post. So currently, Kalvyn, you guys are moving through the forest that's begun to thin, trying to avoid walking with no cover across a prairie of grasslands, when you see a horse sprinting across the prairie itself, with a man on top looking over his shoulder as you see a griffin swoop from the clouds, slam into the horse and the man, and has begun digging into the horse, glancing at the man who's beginning to try to crawl away. Ellory has conjured flames and has launched, but instead of the flames launching in a bolt, has it exploded? And Ellory, you instinctively suck in as the flames rush into your throat. You feel energy, fire coursing through your veins for a short amount of time. You can take one additional action immediately. Go ahead and finish up your last raise, and you can take your second action.
Okay, so the second one I rolled before rolling the surge, and that was a 17.
17 will hit.
Okay, and the third, I don't think that a 10's likely to hit.
The 10 does not. From this distance, it's hard, but the first one is able to slam into its wings as it kind of spins.
Okay. So that is 9 fire damage.
Okay. And you can take another action immediately.
So for my second action, I am just gonna send a firebolt after that ray.
Okay.
It's another natural 1.
Okay, roll another time.
Okay. This one is an 89.
An 89. Casting the flames this time, you feel the heat in your hand, but as you release, you see nothing come from your hands. No fire, no flames. As the rest of you see Ellory, and you're now invisible. You don't even hear Ellory. The sounds of the flames go quiet. The sound of her footsteps all go quiet. Do you want to say where you are, Ellory?
I think I am going to move a little bit. Just, well, I guess I'll move my full range. It's hard to tell on this map. So, about 30 feet away along the trees.
Okay. That'll bring us up to Vesper. And before Vesper, you go, Kalvyn, you can roll initiative. And I'll use yours and just put it in the chat. And Vesper, up to you.
Uh-huh, sure is. Oh, perfect. Okay, that's the one I was looking for. I will... Jesus Christ. I'm going to use my action, or my movement and bonus action to dash.
Okay, tearing out into the field. Running through these grasses that are waist high on Vesper. Maybe a little higher on Ellory.
Fuck me, god damn it. Cool. Guess I'm gonna use my action and dash again, because I can't reach anything.
Okay.
And then I guess I'll just, I don't know, try and catch the dude's attention and wave him towards us.
Okay. You're sprinting across the field as fast as you can. As you see movement in the grasses where he's on the ground, backing up, trying to recover. Trying to move away, you see some of the grasses move. I'll bring us up to here. Then, suddenly, Vesper, you hear wings. You look up above as you're sprinting across these fields, as you see something dive bombing straight for you. As it flies, cutting out of the clouds where you can now see it, it just goes straight down, flying towards you. As it reaches you, it slams into you. That is a 24 to hit.
Yeah, I was going to try and help myself. There's nothing I can do for that.
14 slashing damage as it slams its claws into you, and make a strength saving throw.
Oh, that's not going to go well at all. That's a 9.
As you are knocked prone, with one talon still digging into your shoulders, with its massive weight upon you, the beak comes down. That is 23 to hit.
Yeah.
That is 10 piercing damage as the beak tears into your other shoulder, ripping tendons of flesh out.
Awesome.
As another one drops from the sky, heading towards the horse, lands kind of across, searching for the movement in the grasses. Hasn't attacked anything, but it is still stalking in the direction where you last saw the man. And that will bring us up. Actually, Kalvyn, where are you? Kalvyn, go ahead and go now.
I mean, I guess I'll leave if that's what you want me to do.
Yeah, go ahead and get right out of here.
All right.
Your turn.
I run home. Jesus, please us. I don't know where that is. Somebody ping that. Spank you. So I'm going to dash heroically 60 feet forward, and I will cast Shield of Faith upon... I don't know if that's really going to help, but I got to do something. Shield of Faith on my best bud, Vesper.
Okay.
What it does
down from the sky
onto his shield, and he almost like pushes it forward, like physically. You see him just kind of, and it's like, be safe, and forces the light onto Vesper.
And as that light ripples across the field and upon Vesper, that shimmering light remains around her. Anything else for you, Kalvyn?
No, I just blasted her with my shimmering light, so I think we're good.
Okay. You guys roll bad in initiative, so another one drops from the sky, cruising down, and he's going to go for Kalvyn. This thing dive bombs and is very quick flight as it sees you alone and is going to ride towards you.
Kalvyn is never alone. He is always with the light of our soul.
That is a 19 as the claws slam into you.
Well, he shrugs it off with the shield.
Clawing across. It's going to attempt one more time again. And that is a 9 as it tries to slam its beak into you, twisting the shield for the claws and then using the butt of your spear to push the beak away as it momentarily has its beak stuck in your spear as you push it away. That will bring us up to Ezekiel. There are now 4 griffins upon the field.
Amsen would go before me. We rolled the same, but his dex is much higher.
Whoops. Amsen, sorry.
Okay.
It is up to you.
All right. So I'm going to run 30 feet towards Vesper. She's 65 feet away, which means I can't healing word her, but the griffin is 60 feet away, so I'm going to viciously mock it.
And wisdom save, that's a 13.
That does not save, so it takes only 3 points of psychic damage as I yell out something.
So it seems to react to your calls.
Get off of her, bird brain!
As if the sound is too loud for its ears. And that will bring us to Ezekiel. Unless there's something else for Amsen.
No, I'll save it.
Okay, Ezekiel.
Okay. Ezekiel is gonna use my action, pop out my wings, but I'm not really gonna take off yet. I just want them out, and then I'm gonna go my 30 feet. And that's really all I can do this round, but my wings are out. I'm still on the ground.
Okay. Sprinting forward as your own eagle's wing spread. Will bring us up to, copy pasted the wrong one. As the first griffin that landed, that killed the horse, you see the horse has now stopped moving as this one begins to search for the man, the rider, and is searching into the grass, but so far is yet to find the man. That will bring us up to Ball.
All right. Ball is going to run his 25 feet forward. And as he does, he's going to use his bonus action for the Mantle of Flame. But this one's going to be a little bit different, where when he kind of bursts into flame, there's kind of some embers that extend past him and stay lit. And with his action, he's going to cast what I've called Phoenix Shower. It's a spell that I just renamed, which is going to have 6 of these embers kind of floating around him. The spell says 6 tiny meteors, but I'll flavor them as 6 embers. And then with that, I'm going to send 2 of them, my range is 125 feet to throw those. So I'm going to throw one at each of the griffins, specifically to like the back corner, so it's not within 5 feet of my allies. And I believe it is a dex save. I haven't done this before.
That is
a dex save. Yeah.
That's a 16 for the one on Kalvyn.
Okay.
And an 8 for the one on Vesper.
All right, so I'll roll the damage separately.
As 2 of these embers that are flying around you shoot off, streaking smoke and flames across the ground.
The first one is Kalvyn's, and the second one is Vesper's. And then the first, I guess you half the first one, and the second one's full.
Okay. As the flaming ember arrives there and then burst into ash and flames.
And that's the end of my turn.
Okay. That will bring us up to the top, which is Ellory.
Okay, so I look out across the field at what's happening. I remember Orcesis, the first time that we met him, playing with this little miniature storm in his claws. And thinking of that, I kind of gather magic in between my hands and cast Storm Sphere. And I cast it so that it is centered, so that it will hit the griffin that is attacking Vesper without hitting her. So it's a 20-foot radius, should be centered about 10 feet past her, or 20 feet past her, so that it will just barely miss her.
Okay, and so this sphere that appears, crack of thunder, lightning, is a mini storm just rotating like a small hurricane?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it rotates, picking up rocks and pebbles and everything around. And is that a dex save?
Strength save.
Strength save? Okay. And that is a 16.
Okay, so it saves. But as my bonus action, I am going to have a bolt of lightning leap from the center of the sphere toward that same griffin that it's centered on.
Okay, to make a spell attack on that one.
Because it's within the sphere, I have advantage.
Okay. So a few rocks and stones slam into the griffin as it buckles down.
That's a 24 to hit.
Strikes, cracking, deafens everyone for a swift moment as the lightning strikes upon the griffin from this small storm.
And that's 4d6 lightning damage. So that's 10, 15, 18 points of lightning damage.
So it buckles down enough to where the pebbles kind of just bounce off or kind of roll off of it. It's used to the aerodynamics of wind. The lightning damage, the lightning strike is unable to dodge as it strikes, searing a scar upon its back and one of its wings.
And any space within this sphere is difficult terrain.
Okay. And that will bring us up to Vesper.
Okay, I'm going to reach up, blinking the light spots out of my eyes from this lightning bolt that just went off right by my face. And I'm going to try and grab the griffin, then use it to help push myself up. And I'm going to cast Inflict Wounds at 2nd level.
So you're currently grappled.
Okay, then I'm just going to...
pinning you to the ground.
Alright, I'll just try and attack them. Hopefully.
Okay, so what are you attacking with?
The Inflict Wounds. That's a spell attack. Oh, shit, disadvantage, right? Because I'm grappled or no?
No disadvantage on grapple.
Oh, okay. It's not awesome, though. It's 13.
You grip your symbol, reach your hand out, reach it towards the feathers, gripping into the feathers. Nothing. A sinking feeling, as you already know, but it takes a moment to process. As you remember memories, images flashing, Meli's burning corpse upon the fire and blaze of the Amber Witch, as you turn your shoulder and back to her. The scattering of ash of a dozen unthreatening lives, the screeches and screams of 1,000 voices gone silent, the tree, glowing petals falling to darkness, an old man on his knees, tears in his eyes. No magic comes.
Do I still have an action, or is that it?
That would be your action. You still have a bonus, though.
I'm just going to draw a dagger and get ready to start.
Okay, you reach to your side to one of your mini daggers, pulling it loose. And we'll bring us up. This man, as you see the man gets up and you see him pop his head out of the prairie, out of the grasses, and begins to sprint away. As the two griffins that were searching suddenly turn their large faces towards him as he's sprinting away. That brings up to Kalvyn.
So, paint the scene for me with this guy in front of me.
So you're in a prairie of tall grasses up to your waist. North of you, and to the west, you see two griffins that are now searching and are beginning to launch towards a running, wounded man whose horse was slaughtered. North of you, not but maybe 20, 25 feet away, Vesper is being pinned by a griffin, but there is a small storm that has appeared that is striking towards the griffin, wounding it. And in front of you, a griffin has just attacked you, and you've pushed it off with the butt of your spear. It seems keen on making another strike.
That last bit was mostly what I was asking about. Just like, what was I seeing in front of me? All right, so there's this griffin, and he's there, and he's attacking me, and I'm like, I see the shit going on all around, and I have to shift forward because I don't want to get attacked. So I'm going to do a 5-foot shift around it to try to get closer to other things. But as I do that, I am going to make 2 quick lunges, and we'll see how this goes. That's probably a hit. That's a good question.
AC's 12.
It is. Oh,
I'm sorry, it's 13. It's 13.
I rolled a 13.
You're
plus
fine.
7 is a dirty 20. And then I rolled another 13. How the hell did that happen? I should go to Vegas tonight. I am going to
Right now.
See, guys, Vegas. I'm just gonna dump 1 smite into the first one. So
the spear strikes.
So it's 8 damage, piercing. Well, shoot, I'll do full damage. Is 17 piercing damage and 5 radiant.
Under the warmth of the sun, these 2 quick strikes are precise and deep. As you cut into the first one, pulling out, you see blood pouring out, bubbles. You hit its lungs. This creature has gone from wanting to fight to wanting to flee as it's starting to back up.
Okay, seeing its efforts, I'm going to immediately smash it into the ground with my shield.
Okay.
I rolled poorly.
I rolled a natural 1, so as long
I rolled a 12, so
okay.
I mean, it's just because I have a great...
So it begins to back up as you use the shield to undercut its legs, its front legs, turning it to the side as it falls prone on its side. You could also knock it back 5 feet as your choice.
No, I just wanted to knock it onto the ground.
Okay, so it's knocked on to the ground currently.
And that was 6 bludgeoning damage with my spiky shield.
OP as hell. Should never have given you that. And that will bring us up to the next griffin. The one that currently has Vesper pinned to the ground with the lightning striking its side. Vesper, you feel yourself become light as it begins to fly up and out. The storm is going to be difficult terrain. So it gets maybe about 40 feet above the ground there. As it's just flying up. Vesper, you feel a piercing as it squeezes. That is a 9.
Damage or just?
To hit.
No.
And an 18.
Yes, actually 18 more.
Okay. 17 slashing damage as the claws that are currently grappling you, pierced in, are now pushing through the leather or the armor that you're wearing as it flies up. You see the prairie kind of folding out before you. That will bring us up to this creature. This is going to run, fly, pouncing upon the ground. Get to this guy. He's going to make a strike. That'll hit. As you see this griffin slice talons across the man that immediately falls into the grass as it brings its beak down into the grass, tearing into flesh. This one is going to stand up and is going to back up and begin to fly away. Kalvyn, you could take an attack of opportunity as the griffin that was fighting you is now seemingly fleeing.
13 to hit.
13 will just hit.
Well, let's smite it, just because I don't want it to get away. That's 10 piercing and 5 radiant.
Yeah, you strike it in its back leg on the way out, tearing into a major artery within that leg as blood begins to pour upon the prairie grass at your feet. It's still managing to get into the air. Gets out about 30 feet into the air there. Amsen, that brings us to you.
All right, seeing Vesper being carried off. This is not a good situation. Amsen is going to dash 60 feet, and as a bonus action, he's going to drop a 4th level healing word. Things do not look great. That's unfortunately some pretty terrible rolls. Yeah, that's a 12 healing.
Okay, calling out the Vesper. Healing Vesper for 12, as that brings us to Ezekiel.
Okay. As I'm doing my movement, how rough does the one holding Vesper look?
It looks pretty decently wounded after that lightning strike. But it's not as wounded as the one in front of Kalvyn, though. Or the one flying from Kalvyn. That one looks severely wounded.
Yeah, I only have one thing I can hit it with, and I think I have to hit Vesper.
I deserve it. I ran out here.
I'll get you back up. But looking over at Ellory, I just kind of nod, and then I bow my head for a second, reach my hand up as the clouds darken, and call lightning onto the griffin.
Okay. So immediately those fluffy white, is it Columbus clouds? Christopher Columbus clouds become Nimbus clouds, ? They darken. The sky darkens as shadow rolls across the prairie as streaks of blue lightning cross in the clouds above, striking.
Deck save.
Natural 20, 24.
All right. So he only takes 6 lightning damage. It's a 5-foot radius. I don't know if I could try and go for a wing, but
give me a wisdom check, just a straight wisdom check.
Let's
see if you can control this.
That's reasonable. Straight wisdom. 11.
I'm going to say you're not going to be able to control it enough, being the first time you've cast this spell, requiring Vesper to make a deck save.
Yes.
As the lightning strikes on that side, hitting the wing, but also striking down towards Vesper.
16?
Pass, so you only take 6.
Sweet.
Okay, is that it for you, Ezekiel?
Oh, I'm sorry. It also takes an additional 7 radiant because my wings are out.
Okay.
Vesper does not. It's only on one target.
Okay. It is now looking pretty wounded at this point.
And yeah, I don't have any bonus actions I can do, so that's my turn.
Okay. That will bring us up to this creature with ball on deck. Yeah, like how that stuff darkened. So this creature, seeing that one unmoving, is going to fly. And it's going to be about 40 feet in the air there. So you see the red, seeing the man unmoving, is going to fly up and in the direction of the rest of you, looking for prey. That brings up the ball.
All right. I'm going to, again, move my 25 feet forward.
As ball, and as you run, the flames swirling around you, you can see the prairie behind you with every step. The flames beginning to build upon these dry grasslands.
I don't think it's got the diagonal move thing, right?
Just move one at a time and alternate counting.
I can't do simple math.
Oh my gosh. You can even just figure it out.
3,
Come on.
4,
pull it together.
Something like that. All right. I'm going to throw one of these. How bad does Vesper look? Or rather, how bad does the griffin on Vesper look?
It looks wounded. The two most wounded are the one holding Vesper and the one that was just flying away from Kalvyn, the orange.
Just in case, I will just throw both of them at the griffin that has Vesper. So I'll try to aim it so it doesn't hit Vesper. I don't know how that works if it's mid-flight.
Well, yeah. Is that attack rolls, right?
No, it's just a deck save.
Okay. Make a straight charisma check, we'll say.
A natural 1. So maybe I smack Vesper in the face.
She'll have to make some saves. So the griffin rolled 19 plus dex 21 on the first deck save. The second one is much lower. That's a 5.
Okay, so passes on the first, fails on the second. And Vesper, since it's hitting you, you'd have to do the same.
Fuck. That's a 7.
7. Okay, and roll again for the second one. If he rolled anything but a natural 1, I would just make you do it once.
Natural 20 on the second one, so 23.
So you fail one save on the other, and ball.
So the first one is 12 fire, and the second one is 8 fire.
Okay. As these two exploding, you see the griffin list its wings to the side now burning and smoking as you see the smoking griffin falling from 40 feet. That will bring us up to Ellory.
Oh, how high up is this griffin? I still have my action.
About 40 feet.
Okay, I think you're fine. Yeah, and then with my action, I'll just use it to dash and move forward.
Okay.
And that'll be the end of my turn.
Sprinting forth, that will bring us up to Ellory, as you see the burning griffin that was holding Vesper begins to fall from the air.
Does that griffin still seem to be alive, or just...
It doesn't seem to be. It's beginning to rotate in the air, smoking and burning.
Okay, then I will... There's nothing I can do to help Vesper right now, so I will first start with my bonus action and send another bolt of lightning, this time towards the one that Kalvyn was attacking.
Okay.
That's a 21 to hit.
That will hit.
For 17 points of lightning damage.
Striking this one as it's just beginning to gain speed to fly away. This one strikes it into its side as it begins to flip in the air, falling into the prairie. That will bring us up to Vesper.
That was just my bonus action, so I still have my action.
Sorry, go ahead.
With my action, I will, seeing there's another griffin coming our way, I will go ahead and use Scorching Ray again.
Okay.
And let's send all 3 rays towards that one. First one is an 18.
That'll hit.
Second is a 19.
That'll also hit.
Third is a 25.
They all hit.
So that will be 23 points of fire damage towards that one.
These 3 flames immediately slamming one after another into the sides of these wings that are now beginning to catch fire on the left side where you targeted.
And for a surge, correct me if I'm wrong, we were going with if I roll my proficiency bonus or lower?
Correct.
So that's another surge.
Roll a 1d100.
This is getting ridiculous.
Hitting all 3 times, the flaming energy that within you is now released as you attack, slamming into this griffin.
This one's 70.
As something else happens. So you're pretty far back, and as you do this, Meli, you look to the side, and Meli is also not there anymore. You can no longer see her.
And that's my turn.
That will bring us to Vesper. The talons loosen around you as you begin to go into free fall.
Grab onto it and try and push it so I'm falling onto it if I can.
Okay.
Try and cushion the fall like that.
I'll go ahead and say make a dexterity save. You're trying to rotate midair.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Okay, so you grab on and rotate upon it as it's barrel rolling into the sky, slamming down. Instead of 14, you take 7 bludgeoning damage as you ride the burning corpse of this griffin into the prairie. You're on your stomach, you're prone. What else would you like to do for the rest of your turn?
That's a really good question. Yeah, I think I'm just going to lay there and just kind of let everything sink in.
Okay. That will bring us up to Kalvyn. As you see, the one that just ran from you is struck down by lightning, as the one holding Vesper falls as she rides it to the ground.
Sorry. So, can I see her sticking out of...
She's laying on top of the griffin, it looks like.
Okay.
She managed to not be under it.
And she is just laying there. Kalvyn will rush forward to her side, and he's gonna get his hands all up on her. Whoops. I'm gonna go now. It's been great, guys.
Oh, goodness.
Let's edit that part out.
HR.
Let's clip that.
Yeah, let me just call the HR department.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Kalvyn, you're sprinting through the waist-high golden grass, getting to Vesper, who's laying on top of the dead but burning griffin corpse. What do you do?
Kalvyn reaches out with a glowing hand and touches her ever so delicately and dumps 20 points onto her.
Delicately. And
of smite damage?
You know it. Radiant damage, baby. No, this...
at her elbow, where you were legally not sexually harassing her.
Except
So
he rubbed it in a weird way, so it makes it
so it's
just
still
like
uncomfortable.
Let's bring it back in. So Kalvyn rushes over, placing a healing hand upon Vesper with a glowing light, even in these darkened skies, healing some of your wounds, Vesper. Anything else for you, Kalvyn?
Then I bash her with my shield. No, that's it.
Okay. That will bring us over to here. As you see in the distance, the furthest griffin begins to take flight with a limp body in its back talons as it flies up and begins to fly away towards the north. And that one is dead. And that brings us to Amsen.
Lovely. So Vesper now being on the ground, I'm gonna run up next to Kalvyn, a couple of feet away from Vesper still. I'm gonna belt out a 3rd level healing word on Vesper. That's an okay roll. That is 11 points of healing. And then I'm going to use my action to cast a firebolt at the nearest griffin.
Okay. You can roll that attack.
Which is not great, because it's an attack roll. It's a 12.
Just misses. As the firebolt flies over, it just is able to stop flapping for a moment to drop about a foot or so in flight, just under the firebolt. And that will bring us up to Ezekiel.
Okay,
He's
so...
now running besides a trail of flames left by Ball.
Yeah, I'm just going to pick up off the ground and start flying a little bit. Maybe I can draw the griffin at me, so I'll just go straight up 30 feet. And as I'm doing that, I will bring a lightning bolt down on that, not the one getting away with the guy, but the other griffin.
Closest one, deck save?
Yes.
That is a 6.
Much better damage, so he fails and takes 25 lightning damage and 7 radiant.
What does this lightning bolt look like that just smites him out of the sky real quick?
I think I'm like flying up in the air to get his attention, both hands raised before the divine light radiates off my wings, and I bring my hands down on this big lightning bolt and just watch him kind of like... It's because it's like instantaneous, there's just that flash, and then you watch him sort of like just start to spin.
Yeah, you're blinded for half a moment, a heartbeat, and the next thing you all see is this griffin just falling out of the air, rotating slowly, limp wings as it's falling towards the ground. And that would bring it to him, that now, for his turn, falls to the ground, unmoving. Ball. There's now only one remaining griffin that's flying away with a limp man in its talons.
So as I run past this griffin, I have a question. Does Ball know? Basically, what does Ball know about griffins? Like, are they usually good birds, bad birds, big birds?
You can, I'll say, what's your nature? Your nature modifier.
I do have proficiency. It's a +2.
+2. You've heard tale of griffins in Severwind. They are generally dangerous, though you've heard tales that people have used them in the past as mounts, though most of the ones you know of now are just dangerous monsters that strike it well, though they do seem to be more intelligent than the average beast.
Okay. I'll run past this griffin, pause for a second, and then just continue running forward using my action to dash. 1, 2, 3, 4, and how far away am I from that other guy? Yeah, and then with my bonus action, I'll throw 2 more meteors at my final 2 meteors at that the griffin that's in the air, trying not to hit what it's caught.
Okay, and that's dex saves?
Yes.
Okay.
And do you want me to do another charisma?
Yeah. As you're learning for this spell here.
It's a 21 for charisma.
So learning from your previous mistakes, you're able to aim away from the either dead or unconscious man in its talons. It rolls a dirty 20 first and then a 5 on those dex saves.
So 7 for the first one, 11 for the second, so half a 7.
Yeah.
And that's the end of my turn.
Okay. As the explosion rings out as those embers fly, it'll bring us up to Ellory.
Let's see, I'm trying to figure out, I think this griffin is still in my range, but I'm just going to run forward 30 feet to be sure. And then I am going to go ahead and cast Chaos Bolt this time.
Okay. Sprinting through the grass.
An 18 to hit.
That'll hit. The alternating colors flashing in your invisible hands.
At this point, I shouldn't be invisible anymore because I did cast spells since then, and that should break invisibility.
Okay.
I believe.
So I guess it's different. Go ahead and roll your thing and all.
Trying to find the right...
Yeah, you're visible now, you're right.
The right dice for this.
As this alternating beam of energy flashes disco lights, slamming into the creature.
That's a terrible roll for damage. That is 5 points of fire.
And at the last moment, the light burns red as the Chaos Bolt burns into the wings. Anything else for you, Ellory?
It's too far away. Well, let me double check this, but I'm pretty sure it's too far away to hit with my storm. Yeah, definitely too far. So that's it for me.
Okay. Vesper, you're laying on top of the dead griffin. Kalvyn and Amsen and Ball now have come up to you. One griffin continues to fly away.
I get up and kind of stumble off the griffin, and then her knees buckle, and she just hits the ground crying. And there's literally nothing mechanically I can do this turn anyway, so.
Okay. As you fall off, the griffin and the either dead or unconscious man fly off. And it's pretty fast, so it gets like 160 feet away. Unless you choose to pursue the griffin and the man, seems to be fleeing.
How far away is it?
It would run 160 feet from where it was, so it's probably 250 or so feet from you, give or take. I can calculate it if it's close enough to your range.
I know what I want to do because it'd be fun. I'm just deciding what Ball would like to do.
Okay.
So I'll see if anyone else pipes up. Otherwise,
yeah. So everyone would have basically a round before this thing probably gets out of all of your ranges. If you have anything that could possibly do anything.
If I dash and use sorcery points to cast as a bonus action, I think I can hit it one more time before it gets out of range. Barely.
Okay.
I'm not sure about my math, though, so...
And how far away is it?
From
like... Oh, I can see it now.
So it's wherever it is now plus 160.
Oh. Yeah, I don't have anything. That's a little too far.
No, I think that's barely too far for me to get it.
Okay. So it flies towards the north and northwest a bit, flying away. After a few moments, it seems confirmed too far for any of you to be able to touch it. The fields are on fire, especially where Ball is treaded and where he now stands. There's inferno wrapping around him. Even though he tries to calm himself, the flames and embers still burn this field.
Actually, I will tell everybody to back up, and then I'll find a good swath of it, and I will cast Tidal Wave, because I have that prepared today.
Okay. Yeah, see, you back everyone up and see the trail where Ball has left, stepping into it. What does this look like, this tidal wave? Is it from the rain? Is it pulled up from the ground?
I think I will use the lingering storm cloud and just kind of coalesce it as I'm like bringing my arms down, saying a brief prayer to Asima, and once again raise them up again, causing a wave to just kind of splash out of me that will then pass over the densest part of the fire, but when it crashes, it should scatter.
Okay. So this wave drawing upon some of the energy and rain clouds from above and from the storm sphere that Ellory conjured, you coalesce the energies, raising as these energies like stampeding beast in the form of waves ride and immediately extinguish the trail of flames, scattering water at the end, kind of slowly trickling towards Raz and Orizana and Meli. There is still the burning immediately around Ball, but after a few hasty moments, you're able to get him in a center of just burnt, as he's still on fire, and kind of keep it from spreading to the rest of the fields. As you all gather back together, we were going to go ahead and take a break, and we'll come back and see what happens after that.
Next time on Back to the Story.
Get off, don't touch me right now. It's gone. It's all gone. It's gone. You can't do anything.
You haven't let any of us down. Take a note from all of us and don't be so hard on yourself.
And the fact that you've never had to have any kind of proof of it means you're stronger than any one of us here. And you'll find your path again.
But then you remember, there is something here. It's just this one-way stop in, called the Hearth and Copper.
For part 2 of this episode of Back to the Story, you can find it on Stitcher, Google Play, Player FM, or TuneIn. If you'd like to support the show, feel free to buy us a coffee at ko-fi.com/backtothestory.